Sources suggest that Arsene Wenger is interested in a return to domestic French football, with Lyon needing a manager, although reports also suggest that he might not be favourite to land that position, given that Laurent Blanc is also in the frame. Shaka, he'll be 70 in 2 weeks' time. We spoke about this at the start of the season as to whether a return to club management would be on the cards for Arsene Wenger. It's an interesting link, isn't it?
It is, especially given Lyon's position in the table. Listen, I don't think Arsene Wenger has made any secret of the fact that he'd love to get back into football management. I personally believe that he is better suited to a club at the higher end of a domestic table. And I would even go a little bit further to say that he's best suited to one of Europe's big clubs. But you just wonder who maybe is in the market for an Arsene Wenger and where that opportunity would present itself. Lyon doesn't tick either of those boxes. Certainly not right now. You know, given the fact that they're just outside the relegation zone in Ligue 1, I'm not sure that Arsene Wenger is the right man for relegation scrap. And I don't know what in his recent history would suggest as much, given the length of time he spent with Arsenal, given where Arsenal were in the table pretty much throughout. Given the fact that I think things soured a little bit towards the back end of his time with the Gunners. I'm not sure how you make this leap.
It's an interesting one. They're the third youngest squad in Ligue 1. They haven't won since the opening 2 games of the season. And they're in a position still in the Champions League where they've got to win recently as well. They have 4 points. They have the opportunity to progress through their group. They finished third last year. They have talent, but they've also lost talent over the summer as well. And it appears like it would be a job where you're sort of working with younger players or trying to revitalise a squad that needs help.
Which Arsene Wenger has done. You know, he kind of made his career, particularly the early part of his career, bringing in young players and developing those talent into household names. Patrick Vieira, just one that comes to mind who, you know, when he arrived, nobody was quite sure who he was, and look at the reputation he carved for himself in the game. Nicolas Anelka, and the list is continuous for Arsene Wenger. But that's a long time ago. And, you know, maybe you want to think back to those days and what he was able to do with young players, and you look at your own dressing room and think, well, maybe that's the link. But again, for me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And again, this is... I also accept that Laurent Blanc is their favourite, and Arsene Wenger is or might be a safety net. Maybe, you know, kind of given the lack of experience, talent in terms of managers, and knowing what you're getting is what attracts Lyon, and the fact that at least we know who he is. He's back home on French soil, and maybe that kind of reinvigorates Arsene Wenger in terms of his, what he wants to do and where he sees his own career going. But as of right now, again, there's not a lot of that connects these two for me.
You had suggested a while ago about consultancy as well, and maybe not taking a #1 position. Or maybe he's now suited to the international game. Are you surprised that in this intervening period that he's just kept his powder dry but still continued to intimate that he's interested in a job? He turned down AC Milan. They're looking for a new manager.
Yeah, I am surprised. But again, I'm also aware of the fact that these are very individual decisions, very personal decisions. Now, Arsene Wenger, you know, he may not see his role as being upstairs. He may not see his role as being involved with the national team for a week or two every month or two. He may miss being out on the training ground day in, day out, working with young players or more experienced players, or whatever it may be. These are very personal things that managers, you know, deal with. This is their livelihood. And as much as it's easy for me to sit here in a warm, cushy studio and say, well, this is what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing, that's not how individuals work. So I'm also mindful of that fact. But if I were running a football club and I had money or I had lofty ambitions and I wasn't quite sure what direction I needed to go, or some of the decisions I needed to make in making my club one of Europe's elite, Arsene Wenger is one of the names at the top of my list who I would consult with in, well, what do I do? But again, consult with. What manager do I want? I'm not sure that I'm the man, that he's the man I want on the training ground. But that's me kind of thinking as an owner, knowing full well that I will never be an owner.
Hypothetically, you'd take Blanc over Wenger in this particular situation?
In this particular situation, yes.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.